when you are flying around, you can come up to one of these and you can click on these, and it increments them, and then when the combo matches, it fires off the action on, and you have to be pretty close to do it. 752. There we go. Okay. So this video, I'm going to show why on earth did we call this combo lock parent? Why didn't we just make it a door and do that? And what I want to do for this video is go ahead and add the door. But I want you to be thinking, as I'm adding this door, why is it that I needed to do a door? Is there anything about this combination lock and what I'm about to do that entails me doing a door? I mean, what if I wanted to do this as an elevator, or I wanted to do it so that it's disabling or enabling a light? Or maybe it doesn't just automatically open the door, maybe it just unlocks the door. More what you would think a swinging door would have. So, you know, or opens a safe. Any number of things can be done with this, and that's why we have a parent. If you're familiar with programming, this idea is not going to be foreign to you. Extending classes is something that's very common in object-oriented programming, something very useful so that I don't have to duplicate the code in the combination lock every time I want to create a door, and then I want to do an elevator. I don't have to redo this every single time. I can just use this parent, and all of the functionality, the clickability, the check on the combination lock, all of that is just going to come with. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to right click on this combination lock parent. Make sure I'm muted here. Yep. Okay. We're going to right click on it and we're going to create a child blueprint class. We're going to call this door combo. And file, save all, just super finicky about saving. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and open this up. And the first thing that I want is I want a couple of little widgets for vectors so that I can see where the door is going to be going to and from. So let's create a couple variables. No. We'll call this one door start. We'll call this one, I don't know, something really creative like door end. One of these days I'm actually going to put something creative and people are just going to wow. No, it's not really good practice. You should always make your variables very useful. And we're going to go ahead and do this, and we're also going to give them a 3D widget per. And we'll go ahead and compile so we can get some default values. I think this guy's default value should be, you know, about the same height as this. We'll say that these combination locks are going to sit about midway up through these doors. And we'll say, let's start 200 over to the left. And end, we'll say 400. So now we should have, if I look out at these, so I'm going to delete these, because those are the parents. So there's the door start, and there's the door end. It probably doesn't need to be 200 and 400. I could probably do 100 and 300. I probably don't even need that much. I could probably do 100 and 200. Look at this. Getting rid of numbers left to right. So yeah, it's going to start here. The middle of the door will be here. And then when the door ends, it'll be over there. So let's go ahead and just get this hooked up right off the bat so that the door moves. I won't worry about the animation at first, and then I'll add the animation in at the end. That way if people are just sick and tired of watching these, they can go and figure it out themselves. So save everything, file, save all, and let's go ahead and click into this again. And we're going to need to add a cube. We'll call it door, because all cubes are doors, and all doors are cubes. We're going to make it real thin, and we're going to make it real tall. That is moving, sorry. I'm going to make it real tall. Maybe like that tall. Doesn't that look like a door? It looks like a door to me. So then, you know, it doesn't really matter where I move this because I got a cool little trick where I'm going to go. Notice when I go to the construction script, it has this. This is an override. So if I wanted to, I could unhook this and do just what I want to in this construction script. But if I leave this, it's going to run everything in the parent's construction script, and then it's going to run everything in this child blueprint's construction script, which is what I want. And I want to go ahead and say door. So let's get the door. And we're going to set location, set relative location. And where are we going to set it to? Well, aha! I know where we're going to set it to. We're going to set it to the door start. That's it. That's all it takes. And we don't want to sweep or teleport because it's going to check for collision. And when we're setting it up in the level, we don't really want to do that. You might want to do that later on. So we can raise this whole thing and just put the door just touching. And so now I've got this nice little widget that if I move it, the door updates with it. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, we're so far along. Okay, so, but now what? File, save all. Let's go into the door combo again. We don't want to do this in construction script because we're not going to be constructing. We're going to be actually in the game playing. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to override increment. No, I'm sorry. We're going to need to override action. Oh, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? I can tell you why it didn't work. It's because Unreal has something weird about it, where if a function doesn't have a return type, then it puts in an event thing. So now I need to go find all the places that this is broke. So let's go ahead and do this. Return. Return. It doesn't really matter because we're not doing anything with the return right now. Oh, and it broke again. And why is that? Because the signature changed. So when we're calling action here, now we need to call it like this. And it'll add the return type to the signature. So now when I compile, it'll work. I can save and quit. So like that's just a weird thing about Unreal, that you have to have a return type to get the following. Now, if I go functions override action, oh, look, this is exactly what I want. So I'm now going to extend the functionality of action itself. So when this runs, it's going to turn that light green or red, just like usual. You need to, so this is the action function of the child. When that action function is called, it takes in this parameter. You need to pass that to the parent's action function for all of that functionality to happen. Like a clean override would basically be this. It would just be like nothing. You just like completely writing a new function. But Unreal's smart enough to know nobody wants to just completely write a new function. Part of the reason they have a parent is because they want this functionality probably to fire too. Maybe, maybe not, so you can remove it. But after that's fired, we want to do something else. So what we're going to do is, if the action is on, and it's nice, it has a return type now, so we can use it, but we don't have to. We could use this if we want to. In fact, just to be careful, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to use that. Because I think I don't set the return type in action right now, in the parent. It doesn't matter. I don't remember. I'm going to use the one from this one anyways. We're going to do if. So now we have a conditional. What do we want to do? Well, if the action is coming on, so action on is true, then we want to set the door. So let's go ahead and get a reference to the door here. Get. Then we're going to set relative location to the door end. This is going to now move it to that widget. And that's if the action is on. We want to put it to the end position, so it'll be open. And if it's off, we'll copy this, paste. We don't want to set it to that position. We want to set it to the start position again, because it's off, so the door should be shut in its start position. And then we'll go ahead and return, just because we're supposed to. There we go. So, and we don't need a sweep or teleport. It's just going to pop. It's not going to do any collision checks or anything like that. I think that is it, actually. I think now, when I play, I should be able to buzz over here. 1, 2, 3. Boop. It's open. Let's see if it closes correctly. Yep. Let's go back around. 3, 2, open, close. Open, close. And that's it. If you guys are done watching and that's all you need, you're like, yes, that's it. I don't even care about animations. You can just exit now. Throw a like on there. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and set up an animation so that it looks a little bit nicer. Save file, save all. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up this animation. What we're actually going to do here is we're going to end up ripping this out, but in the event graph, we want to add timeline, and we'll call this door open, because that's what's going to happen when it plays forward. Obviously, when it plays from reverse, it's going to close. We're going to come in here, and we're going to add a float track, and we're going to give it a duration of, I don't know, 3 seconds. You can change this to whatever you want. And we're going to add a keyframe. We're going to add another keyframe. And on the first keyframe, we're going to set the time to 0, because it's right at the beginning, and we're going to set the value to 1. Oops, I am sorry. We're going to set it to 0. And for the second keyframe, we're going to do value 1, and the time is going to be 3. And we probably don't want it to be so straight out, so we're going to do auto, and that'll give it this nice S-curve, compile, save, don't exit, exit this. Okay, so now we've got, in the event graph, we've got this, and when this gets played, we're going to do some stuff. So we're going to add a variable. We're going to call this door position. And believe it or not, this position is actually just going to be a float. It's going to be basically its position that's driven by this. So we're going to set door position, and it's going to do that every time we update. And the next thing we're going to do, let's say we update, we set the new door position, but if we've already called the action, then it doesn't matter what, this can just keep raising and raising, but the door's already moved because the combination locks set it to true. The actions run once and we're done. So we actually don't want that to happen. What we want is here, instead what we want to do is escape this. And we're going to put this into its own, oops, copy or cut that out, and we're going to add our own function, which is open door. And in open door, we're going to do this. And then, let's see, turn in action. Open door. And this is going to take in an input as well. It's going to be opening. And this is, if the action is true, then it's going to be opening. And if it's false, it's not. So, and then this will return to here. And then in open door, now we have this. It's going to do this. And this is going to go away. Okay. What we need to do, that can stay there because it is still going to be the door. We need to break this vector. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to find what the relationship between that position float, which is driven by the timeline, and these vectors are. To do that, we really need to get these into float form, so do this, and what we'll do is we'll check the difference. So if it's at 0.7, we want the x to be 0.7 between this, and the y to be at 0.7 between this and y here. So what we're going to do is we're going to lerp these together. That's linear interpolation. We're going to copy, paste, paste. Okay. So x's go into x's. Sorry. X is A and B. Y, A. Y, B. Z, B. Just make sure you get these into the right one. So this one's the bottom, the bottom, the bottom. It does make a difference. And what's going to drive this is we need to get door position. Remember, the timeline is updating this. There we go. Alright, so now we need to make these into a vector. And we can click y into y. So now these will be, this vector is getting however far in between point A and point B this is. And then we're making that into the new x, y, and z back into a vector. We're going to set the door to that position. And we don't really need this, because that's just handled by position, which means we don't really need that. And we don't really need opening, because I'm an idiot. Yeah, this seems right. So now the problem is, let's go here. Target needs a connection. Oh, right. So we do need door, believe it or not. Get the door. Okay. So again, what this is doing is it's interpolating between the end and the start based on a fraction of the way between. And that fraction is going to be between 1 and 0. And we know it's going to be between 1 and 0 because this door position is getting updated by this timeline. This timeline has this, which has one keyframe at 0 and one at 1. So we're going to always be at some fraction along the way. And so what we need to do now is we're going to do open door. We're going to set open door. Now the question is, which way is this going to be playing? And that is going to be determined by this action here. So, we don't want to open the door here. I shouldn't have pulled that if out of here. That's why that was in the open door. So if this, then we are going to get a reference to this. Play. So if the action goes on, we're going to play it. And if it goes off, we're going to reverse. We don't want to do it from the end. We want to do it from wherever it happens to be. Because let's say it's halfway open and you turn that combination lock off, you want it to stop and go the other way. So I don't know this. I might have these backwards in open door here. So that'll be easy to switch if this acts kind of funky. But I think that's all you need to get it functional. So let's fly over here. I think it's still 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Nothing happened. I remember this. So, yep. It accessed none. It accessed none every time we were adding, and it kept coming back as off still because the combination's still locked. And then the one time it tried to play it, it found none. And it found none for the timeline. Why was the timeline none? I don't really know why this is the case, but the timeline is none because it needs something to hit this to actually initialize it. And referring to it here doesn't actually initialize it. So what I did do is set new time to 0, just so that it stays still, right at the event begin play. That's just going to keep start the door shut. But if you wanted to, you could start it open, and it would shut itself. So now, when I go over there, 1, 2, 2, 3. Oh, I do. I have them reversed. So that's easy. If it does that weird thing where it like jolts over to the open position, you just need to switch these. Compile, save, and that's basically which way it's interpolating. So it's putting it 100% on the open side. That's 1, 2, 3. It's open. Switch that. Closed. All the way open. Oh, nope. And all the way open. And then if I click fast enough, I can probably start it closing. And then, so if I click it 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There it is. Yeah, you can. I guess 10 times because 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. There you go. And again, you can edit the combo lock. Say 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3. No, it doesn't do anything. 4 now opens the door. So you can see now, this is really useful because all it's doing is on action, I'm doing this little bit of extra stuff with this, with the value that's coming out of action here. It's turning the light on still, but then we're also doing this, and this is going to play this animation, but this animation could be driving anything you want. The animation out here happens to be doing this function, but it could be doing any other function you want. So you could have an elevator. You could have, you know, I can actually, here, I'll just do that right now. Duplicate. We'll call this combo elevator. And I'll do this nice trick here where I'll just do the same exact thing. I'll even leave it called door. But I'll just go to the viewport and I'll change the start position of this so that it's that and 0. But I'll change the end position so that it's 100 and the Z will be like 500. And then I'll change this so that instead of being a door, oof, it's too big. It's an elevator. And we'll do start, we'll put this down on the ground. Oh, it is on the ground. So we'll do minus 100. Compile. Do 200 just to get it a little ways away. And 200. Okay. So now if I pull one of these out, combo elevator, and get this flat on the ground. There you go. So now I can fly over here, and I've got now 2, 3, goes up pretty fast, and as soon as you turn it off, it's going to come back down. So now you got this combination lock elevator. Oh, but what if you don't want it to actually, what if you don't actually want it to go up only when you call a combination? That doesn't seem useful. What if you want it to go up and down for a lock? Well, that's easy enough, because instead of calling play in reverse on this, what you could do is set up an input where if you click on the elevator itself, so in here, if this fails, then you can try and cast to the elevator, or you could even just say, oh, this passes, which it will, and then you can just check and see if you hit the elevator and then it tries to fly up. So I don't know how long we're at. 23 minutes? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We have 3 execution pins, but let's add a 4th. Let's say this one also needs an if. And if this cast is successful, then here what we're going to do is we're going to cast to combo elevator. So we've got the parent, we know it's the parent already, but let's go ahead and cast it to the elevator. And as the combo elevator, let's get door, still called door, sorry guys, but that's actually the elevator static mesh. And we're going to check and see if that is equal to our thing. And if it is condition, then we're going to do, we need to add a function. Oops, what is going on? Oh, hit actor. Nope, let's do it this way. Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. And if it's true, we're going to fire off a function that I haven't built yet, so let's go into the elevator. File, save all. And let's create a function. We'll call this Well, we don't need on. And on is going to have one input, which is called unlocked. There it is. And so we're going to do if unlocked. Then we're going to get this timeline. It's still called open door, but this would be like raise elevator, something like that. Going to play. And otherwise we're going to reverse. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go into this action. We don't want to actually play a reverse just on unlock. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to rip out all of this. And we're going to set, oh, we need a variable. So let's add a variable, call this unlock. And I actually don't need that input on the other one, I realize. Oops. Set. We don't even need this branch. We can just set it directly to this. Keep that out. So we're going to set unlocked to whatever that value is after the light turns. And then in the on here, we actually don't need, so we can just do get unlocked. We can do that. File, save, and then back here what we'll do is as component elevator we will call on. And that's only if indeed the component we hit is actually the door. If it's not, then what we'll probably be doing is incrementing one of the buttons, but we could also hit another component that doesn't do anything. So leave that alone. If I did this right, when I come over here, I should be able to not do anything with that. 1, 2, 3. And now when I click it, it goes up. Oh, but here's the problem now. I can't get it to go back down unless I do that and then click it, which is not what I want. I want it to go up and down, but not. So I've done a little bit of logic wrong here. If it's unlocked, if it's playing, so this is what I'm clicking on. So if it's unlocked, and so if it's we don't want to do, okay, if it's playing, so this is true, and it's playing, then we reverse it. And if it's not playing, we check and see if it's reversing. It might not be doing either. So maybe this isn't the best way to check. I don't know enough about timelines to know. Well, this will work for the time being. So we'll just do it this way and see what happens. So if it's not playing, then we play it. Oh, that'll work. And if, well, yeah, it might get stuck like where it's at the top and it's not playing, but we can't get it to reverse now. And if it's not unlocked, we don't do anything. So it gets stuck wherever it is. So now, I'm going to fly over here. Let's see if I got that right. 1, 2, 2, 3. Click, click, click. Okay, let's see if I can get it. So it's all the way up at the top. I don't know if it's playing now or not. No, it's not playing, and I can't click it because it's stuck. So, in that case, that's the case where it's not playing. So, is playing is false, and so it tries to play it. So it looks like we need an if here. So let's get the door position. If this is equal to 1, and it'll reverse. I think this will do it. So, in the case that it is it playing? Yep. Let's reverse it. It's not playing. Okay, fine. Then play it. Only if it's not the case that the door position equals 1. So that's not the case because it's at 0 at the bottom or it's at 0.7. It's just going to keep playing it. If that equals 1 then, though, that means it's all the way at the top, we're going to reverse. That should take care of that one edge case where it's at the top. So now we should be able to reverse it either way. So let's go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So we should be able to click, 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 click. Oops, if it's reversing. Ugh. Clicking this thing is tricky. Let's see if I can. Okay, so it's at the top. I think the problem now is that when it's reversing, so is playing is false. Position equals. That's false. It should play it. I don't know why that's not working. Either way, it's close enough. You can see it's buggy, but I spent longer than I wanted to on that. You can see what I'm talking about, though. Now we've got these two nice features. We've got an elevator that's either locked or unlocked, and we've got a door that, when it's unlocked, automatically opens. Oh, okay. That's it. I think I'm going to call it. That's 3 videos for now on this. If anybody has any suggestions, questions, comments, feel free to leave them in the YouTube comments, and I'll answer as soon as I can. If you want to see something specific, let me know, and I'll consider putting up a tutorial video for it if I'm smart enough to figure out how to do it. Otherwise, have a great day and enjoy coding.